going
for
night,
champion select.
night mode for summer.
Yeah, that's exactly, and everyone knows that. You know, you have regular mode for a while, and then you discover night mode, you never go back. It's just
Hey,
how
people
we're
who
doing
watch
it
my
here in the
stream
LCK
know
as well.
that I hate night mode. I'm actually a light mode person all the time, so we're doing different things here, but I like that we have some new digs, some new colors, because, you know, Korea's still not the best region in the world, Atlas. We still got work to do. To be fair, we were one game away from winning MSI because SKT versus Team Liquid would have no doubt been SKT favorite, but none of that matters. Right now, third, fourth region in the world. Right now, it's KT versus Jin Air who come in with none of the baggage of spring applying today. The moment Jin Air started losing, it went on for a long time, and they were just always trying to battle against what felt like an avalanche. Now, suddenly, it's the first game, none of that baggage matters. Frey makes his re-debut, and predictably Yumi, the ultra-busted support champion that has just been released on 9-10, is banned in game number 1.
And also, Aatrox is completely ridiculous at the moment as well with his recent changes. That is an insta-lock Nautilus and an insta-lock Lee Sin coming in for most likely SnowFlower and UmTi as well. UmTi picking up his own Lee Sin. He was fantastic on the champion last season, especially very early on, but the Rise first pick is a huge one here for Jin Air, flex pick between Lindarinag and Grace.
And you know, we've been staring at the MSI meta for a very long time, talking about the 5 flex picks that have always banned. Notice, of the flex picks, only Silas banned. Rise first picked. A lot of champions open. Jace, for example, on patch 911, this is the global major region debut of 911. So far, hasn't been prioritized at all. It is, of course, a Nautilus flex pick on the side of KT. And if you look over LPL, Olaf has been the highest priority jungler. JJ popping off on EG on his professional debut. That part's no surprise. The Tahm Kench, though, where is it going? Because, yes, when we seen it in pro games, it's been support, but it feels like the support role was powered down and then some in those 9.9 changes.
Yeah, if you guys read those patch notes, I read it as we're saying goodbye to Tahm Kench support. That's what I read it as. That's okay. So the Pyke's been locked in, and we know that a lot of LCK teams have been looking at this top Pyke going, this is our problem, and we need to fix it. So that could be Kingen.
But it's even better, because BDD has been playing mid-Pyke.
Oh, that's true. And SnowFlower is a very aggressive support as well.
And it's even more integral than just SnowFlower could play Pyke. It's the interaction between Pyke and Tahm Kench. Remember that Grey Health doesn't get involved in the calculation from that ultimate. Pyke will execute you through the Grey Health. So it's a good compositional answer to Pyke, to Tahm Kench, wherever this Pyke goes. Here's what I'll say, though. Remember when we went to an international tournament, it's actually you and I in this case, got beaten by an off-meta champion,
the Kled,
and then every Korean team failed Kled for the next season until they dropped Kled. Pyke could also fall in that camp because the new NA Jace is NA Pyke, so I'm worried that KR Pyke might not pop off either.
Well, we'll see who's going to be piloting it. Still, a lot of information needs to be gathered here from KT Rolster, who are playing the red side mind games pretty effectively at this point in the draft. LeBlanc is going to be banned away from BDD. No one wants to see that one if you're facing off against them. He's fantastic at that champion, as we've banned both of Prey's former key picks on KT's side.
I know! Maybe they just want to see a new start from Prey. They want to see something new. Is he just going to lock in Ezreal? It will be his 94th career Ezreal game.
Wow.
I was looking up stats. The only AD carry I found, or the only player I found to have a champion they've played more than 100 times in Korean pro play is Bang on Ezreal at 113, I believe, Ezreal games. Ash, the most famous from Prey, 75% career win rate over a 7-year career. Next month, it will be the 7-year anniversary of Prey's pro gaming career with 2 holidays along the way.
And the fact that you can still hold on to a 75% win rate is just ludicrous. He is going to bring out the Kalista, though.
So, we already teased the idea of win rates. You don't necessarily jump off on Prey's Kalista. It feels like Bang was the Kalista player, right?
Yeah.
Most historically. But Prey's Kalista, funnily enough, he has played 36 games, 27-9, 75% win rate. So his Kalista's basically his Ashe. So that's exciting times. It's also a pick we saw from Teddy a lot against Tahm Kench lanes at MSI. Which way will Jin Air go? Falling back on Ezreal, this feels like a lane that Prey could definitely style on.
Yes, when it comes to preying on a lane, no pun intended, that is definitely an opportunity for them. And we saw the Ezreal being picked up to pretty abysmal effect. I was watching over in the LCS, and TL versus TSM was not exactly a close matchup. And the Ezreal did look like it was struggling a little bit. Talia is now hovered. Still not entirely sure where it's going because we've seen the Olaf be flexed to top lane, especially over in the LPL. Could be in the jungle, could be anywhere.
It's one of those things where I want to say you're being facetious, but we finally saw that first pro game of Olaf top, and in certain matchups against mages, it could work. I don't know if Akali is the mage you want to go to. So let's hit the final confirmation on where Pyke, Nautilus are going, because of course the flex nature of this draft is big. You feel like you want either the Pyke or the Nautilus bot lane. Let's be real.
Yes, I think that's probably... I mean, Akali's support has happened in my solo queue, but not exactly with a victory screen at the end.
So let's see how this all ends up. Pyke is the obvious one because hook champions with Kalista have always been a thing. Think of the Ballista days with the Fate's Call and Blitzcrank interaction. Don't get quite that interaction with Nautilus, but it does mean that Nautilus can walk up and even from the support role, start whacking away, start looking for the passive, and then have the Fate's Call both defensively and offensively. Pyke top is something that I knew we would see early. I think Khan will play it for sure on SKT side to work out some demons from MSI, and we're going to see Kingen jump on it. You're wondering about Kingen and UmTi playing. If you look at solo queue, both these guys are highly ranked. Hard to track some of the KT solo queue accounts because some of them are on different names, but I reckon this is probably a recognition of both solo rank and also scrim performance. And just to start with something new. We're starting anew if you're a KT fan.
Yeah, and also you heard it in the interview beforehand. Score was pretty happy to let UmTi play through until he ran into problems, and then Score comes in and helps the young upstart out. That is basically what I got from that particular interview. Smev on the other side, I mean, him versus Kingen has been a really interesting question that we were tracking over spring, and I think that Kingen's really made some leaps and bounds towards becoming that starter that KT might need, so we'll see whether Smeb will be coming in or whether or not it's going to be Kingen taking that main role in the top lane.
Kingen and UmTi might become legends of KT, and they have talent, but there's a long road to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Even though you're trying to be glass half full, they didn't necessarily cover themselves in glory in spring, so there's still work to be done for KT's young guns.
But they've certainly got the new draft. We'll see how we go as we get onto the Rift. I got chills, Papa Smithy. I was waiting for some cheers, but we haven't got any yet.
It's the early parts of the season. We'll work out all the kinks. If you guys are wondering, it is the teaser intro for the first week of LCK, and then the plan is to have that full intro out in the coming weeks. But tweak number one, there's kinks on all sides. Remember, Prey is coming in for his professional re-debut over 200 games ago. It was back in those Worlds qualifiers where Kingzone, surprisingly after being spring champions last year, failed to make it to Worlds 2018. And Worlds 2018, as we know, an event that Korean fans would prefer to forget. SnowFlower's dead, so I guess that's a spring highlight right there.
Normally you do that in the fountain, though, so he decides to go for a bit of a walk before he surrenders himself to the grave. I can respect that. As Jin Air are looking to blast cone their way into the enemy blue buff, but they're spotted immediately. Intelligent ward here on KT, but they will lose their blue. Will immediately get covered, I believe, by UmTi with some vertical jungling as King and Lindarinag meet.
Pyke top versus Ryze, matchup that we haven't seen in pro play just yet. It's not from my games watched around the world.
I was actually going to talk about this because it's similar to what you were talking about with Tahm Kench, with the shields that Ryze gets. You can ignore that with your Death from Below as well. So
see, the issue
theoretically
is,
could work.
Chip damage is something that Pyke is very easily able to shrug off because you just disengage from the screen and come back in, especially if you're under turret. So against Ken and Jace auto attackers, I like the Pyke top a lot. Remember that Ryze has a lot of burst, and he's also able to instantly root you on command. And the best counter pick we've seen so far against this top lane Pyke has actually been Camille top. Well, I believe in the LPL very recently, because you just have that very long-range access with hard crowd control. You just can guarantee that he can't Death from Below all over the place in a team fight.
You put him in a cage, Pop. Maybe that's what you do.
And guess what? It's a prison, literally. It's a ruined prison. So there's actually a real chance that this could be a very tricky matchup for Kingen in the top side. No health building on this Pyke. The Hex Drinker will probably have to come in pretty early.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting when they get to any sort of team fights as well, because we saw this sort of Pyke Akali situation from G2. actually at MSI, and it did work out very well. You know, you can create a lot of havoc and a lot of craziness in these fights with the Shroud and with you know, the Pyke potentially just bouncing all over everyone, getting those resets.
But before we see quite a lot of Pyke games, I think they're going to happen inevitably, given the result of the SKT G2 series. I want to put this out there. My biggest worry for Korean teams learning from the losses at MSI is that they said, oh wait, we don't play Pyke, let's pick up Pyke. That's the reason that we lost. That is not the reason that Korea lost. It was, of course, the greater playstyle and G2's ability to play aggressively around a snowballing top that creates chaos in the mid game. If you just farm out in this lane as Pyke and then come to late game and don't actually try to create chaos and it becomes predictable, the champion won't work in the way that it did for G2. So just locking in Pyke is very far away from solving the systemic problems that Korea's meta reads were going through. So let's wait and see how KT used the Pyke pick today.
Yeah, and I think that what you say is definitely true, but it is a good step forward, because if they can pilot it correctly like you were talking about, then it will be the right evolution that the LCK would be taking. Understandable here that Prey and SnowFlower are doing a pretty good job here in this lane so far, but only to the tune of about 4 CS. Looking into the mid lane, BDD is just having a great time against Grace, despite some nerfs over and over again to Akali in the last 3 patches or so.
UmTi's aggression has always been there. This is a very long visual.
Freeze frame, guys.
Hopefully this is just on our side. We actually don't know.
No. You can take a photo, though. It's actually kind of cool to get this whole idea.
This seems like a systemic problem, given that the match timer is also there.
Yeah, I think it's an error in our observers, so hopefully we can get back into the game. Everything is stopped.
Oh, no.
Surprise. Day 1 jitters, guys. It happens to our PCs as well.
Oh, podcasting!
Oh, okay, never mind. No, we're back. Okay.
No, but we must be delayed, right?
Yeah, I mean, further delayed.
All right, well, we'll just go with it. Let's see what happens.
Okay,
we're riding by the seat of our pants, Atlas.
Yes, I mean, come on, it's the LCK. It's what everyone expects. It's what we want. All right, so we're behind by a little bit more. So if the players are going to be yelling and stuff in the background, understand that that's going to be in 30 seconds from now. This is what we used to do back in Oceania, Papa Smithy. Remember the 3-minute break that you'd have to fill after Champion Select? Because that's what happens if you do this on the live client, of course. Good times.
League of Legends is my favorite sport. I like to think, when I think of kind of applying things, I'm like, okay, was it a rain delay? Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, maybe we went in for tea.
We are basically cricket casters, so
yeah,
it makes sense. We had a tea break.
If we relate to anything, it is certainly the cricket commentary.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed their 30-second tea break. Maybe you had a Tim Tam.
Yeah.
What's your views on Tim Tam etiquette, Atlas?
I'm a bit of a dunker. I like to get the dunk happening with my Tim Tams, but it does depend, because there are a lot of different varieties of Tim Tam now. That's true. And when it's the OG Tim Tam and I've got my tea without sugar, I actually like to get a little bit of that chocolate in there, you know, because it can be delicious. You know, just a regular Earl Grey, something like that.
How do you feel about all the flavors? Are you a traditionalist, only going for the classic Tim Tams, or do you get wild with some of the crazy flavors?
Oh, I'm happy to try anything, Papa Smithy. I had that new cola beverage with the coffee involved. Tried it. It was awful.
Coffee? No.
God, it was disgusting. It was probably one of the worst things
we might get sponsored by Coca-Cola with coffee.
Well, hopefully not that particular one, Papa, because I just don't know whether I can endorse that. I personally wasn't a fan. Okay, if your opinion is that it's delicious, then all power to you. You can have mine.
Well, my opinion on Pyke Top is that it's delicious. But again, I want to see it played aggressively. And KT's playstyle is up for grabs. It could be anything. We don't know if it will be Prey and SnowFlower role-playing 3-4 years of Prey and Gorilla and just getting no resources. When just before the visual freeze we had, UmTi was visiting bot lane. Prey and Gorilla famously got no jungle proximity ever. So it was kind of a what came first, the chicken or the egg situation of, did they never receive ganks because they never needed them, or was it just that they didn't call for them? We never really knew. So now we get a new data point. We won't get it all judged from today, as Olaf does control top side, so for now Pyke going to largely be playing on the back foot.
Well, we'll see whether Lee Sin's also going to be playing on the back foot, because his red buff is under fire at the moment, as Mairang is just going to wander on in there. No vision available from KT, so they're in the dark, quite literally, when it comes to where Mairang is on this map. Still pushing up on the bottom side, though, as Tier has been picked up here from Root bottom side.
Bit of an awkward back timing though, because
I haven't seen Tier burst for a long time.
We almost never see it in pro play. If you're coming back after a long break, just like Prey, you might wonder what are we talking about. Every Ezreal builds Tier, and you're right. But the big takeaway is it's usually Sheen first against lanes with kill threat, and I think Kalista Nautilus on the kill threat scale. So I think it's a pretty bold.
Seismic Shove comes in. He's going to be used here from B2D and has to ult in order to get his way out. The perfect execution, that's not exactly the perfect use of that ability in the mid lane.
Now, it's a long cooldown, so on a simple level, you're drawing out a long cooldown and relieving pressure from the Talia, but actually on a bigger level, Atlas, now it's Olaf with first roam from the jungle, given the jungle matchup, and it's Talia with a global. So actually the side lanes are the one who probably have the most pressure put on them. On the side of KT, because yes, Grace has pressure relieved. Suddenly, that all-in with the Berserker Grace rush is now more risky if Talia ever leaves mid lane.
And we haven't actually spoken about this as well. These team compositions as a whole, we've spoken a lot about the lanes, how things are going to work, but moving into late game, we've actually got triple global and an Olaf. And we've got Olaf delivery system from two of the other laners. Here on Jin Air's side. Abyssal Voyage now has a much larger range actually in later ranks as well as we move into that late game.
But it has a really small range at the rank that the Tahm Kench is.
Level
for the most
6 you
game.
may as well not level it.
Like Tahm Kench doesn't hit 16 where it's like broken levels of range. It's insane range.
It's crazy.
Tahm Kench. That's only relevant for top lane Tahm Kench. For support Tahm Kench that often doesn't reach level 16, it's pretty much nerfed in most realistic scenarios. Many people will know, but it's W now. Grounds as if you feasted an enemy champion, so it's in your belly, you can't flash. It is defensively only really for popping a single CC from the enemy. KT just kind of run at the Drake here. They've got the Kalista, they've got the setup. Can Jin Air respond, or do Jin Air want to respond?
Yeah, first roam from B2D, but also bringing Kingen down here as they start the fight. The kickback there is onto Kellin. Heal comes out, he flashes his prey. He's on his own, but meanwhile in the backline, Grace, great shove. He's going to burn down, but not down far enough. And the Mountain Drake will be all KT will be able to get. Adorable fight, though, and very lucky that Jin Air managed to survive.
When it comes to some of the battle items, KT had them, and when it comes to top laner, Jin Airs did not choose to come bot lane. I believe that was teleport back to the top lane, not 100% sure, was focused on the action. The action is a Mountain Drake, which for now doesn't really change how the game is played, because the auto attacks to those structures and neutrals are going to be more relevant in the mid to late game. LS always talks about how from behind, the Mountain Drake doesn't actually really provide many relevant stats. Right now, the game is right up in the air, but it's still a nice pickup, and KT at least is saying, well, we've got a Pike, his ultimate is up. Let's try a fight and see what happens.
Yeah. And so far, it's only Lindarinag that's actually been able to get anything here in this game. On the other side of things, KT with that shove in the mid lane, that was why they were able to get that Drake control, so B2D does have well and truly control of that lane. 14 CS in the lead at the moment as the wave is coming into him once again, and Prey on his Kalista. Pretty good debut game here, sitting at approximately 25 CS ahead of Root down there, and the teleport was just used as he makes his way back to lane. Prey still has his Bilgewater Cutlass was just put together.
And if you compare the two comps, Jin Air, you already talked about it when you were zooming out Atlas and talking about the comp here. A lot of globals. They're very much Ezreal wants to go mid lane with 2 items and start sieging, and then trying to catch people around the map comp with Abyssal Voyage. Basically, very easy to rotate around. For the side of Jin Air, definitely comps of this ilk have been popular for years now over in Korea. How many times did we see Prey and Gorilla on Ezreal Tahm Kench comps like this one? KT's actually really a Chaos comp. Can you imagine losing control around Baron and then having to face check this level of mobile pick power? Both teams have pick CC, but KT's, if they get the first one, the second, the third, the fourth, very much doesn't need too many explanations. Speaking of face checks.
Oh, he's going to be able to pull him back over the wall there as well. Q is going to land. UmTi gets himself all the way in. The flash comes down. That's the death from below. And Kingen gives UmTi all of that free money. Undertow doesn't even land as First Blood finally goes down at 11.5 minutes.
Some young man mechanics between UmTi and Kingen find some inroads. Good to see from that duo. Only the first kill in 11 minutes. And again, when we've seen Pike top succeed, it's been in games that are much more kill a minute than kill every 10 minutes. So is this the start of something or just a entree for KT Rolster?
Well, Jin Air ganked the mid lane minion wave and basically ignore what B2D is doing as he gets that shuriken backflip and gets his way out of there. Control wards will be eliminated as Grace and Mairang are moving towards the top side. And Kingen is looking to try and head back. I'm not sure whether he's actually going to be able to make it out here, though, as Grace. He finds him. He was on vision. He gets ignited immediately, and that's not going to be enough to get himself out of there. Grace is going to help grab the kill for Mairang.
Super lazy recall spot from the Pyke here. We're going to watch the replay. Now, Lindarinag didn't have to die here. He could have flashed. If you watch the replay through the play, he just flashed over the death from below. He's at 300 health, and there's not that much more cooldowns Kingen will have. He could have gone to his control ward literally over the wall. But instead, Kingen chose to be in a spot, warded by the Rise, and goodbye, 1-for-1 overall. And he's no longer a rookie, but it feels like a rookie mistake from KT's young top lane.
Yep, you're not wrong. And also, using that dash in order to get himself into a dangerous position instead of exactly like you say. A good position is a worrying sign as BDD moves out of the way. The second shot of the ultimate is not going to be enough there as the dredge line lands for SnowFlower. No further ways in. True shot barrage just a tickle here on BDD at this point.
Definitely watching further action, though.
Yep, very early flash there as UmTi's taken so many turret shots, eventually gets himself slightly out of range as Kingen's going to try and get his way out of there. Weaver's wall comes forward, but safeguards a good ability. KT will survive topside.
Current plate collapse, KT 900 gold ahead, but it feels like just a small lead for now. Let's just staying bot lane, and building his own CS lead is Prey. As the match continues to go, again, we still remain to be convinced about where this game may end up. Lindarinag knows he definitely has a target on his back.
Oh yeah, mostly because he's the one that's doing the best at this point in time. I mean, of course, in the MSI patch, it was all about Rise. I think it still is, and I think here in the LCK, we have some of the better Rise players. Lindarinag has been no slouch in the past as well, so this certainly is going to be a power pick as we move further and further into this game. Whether Kingen can actually find, like you say, some inroads on this Pyke pick. Shelly is going to take a bit of a beating here from UmTi, but it's in full vision. BDD with, once again, the inside track in the mid lane, though, should be able to make sure that KT can secure this. No turret plates are going to go down for them, though, as a result.
And this is a scary idea we were talking about with book champions, with picks, with reset ultimates. Hard for Jin Air to approach this, but they're going in with the top bench.
Yeah, the Abyssal Voyage is going to come down. That's immediately the hook that's going to land. Ragnarok has to be invested as UmTi gets a huge kick into the back line, and the massive knockups. Death from below is exactly that as KT turned Jin Air into jam in the river.
Holy guacamole, that was a knock-up party. You don't even need the new Zac to make that one bounce. They were up in the air, they were around the place. 3 kills now to the Pyke. Unnecessary all-in from Jin Air. I think you just give up the Rift Herald there instead. They give up way more.
Yeah, it was immediately the Bone Skewer as well, pulling the Olaf in. That, when you have to use Ragnarok defensively, that's when you know you're going to have a bad time, and it only goes from bad to worse here. As KT shoves Shelly into the mid lane, she destroys the first turret of the game. Sorry, the second, because top lane fell as we were in amongst all of that action. Jin Air feels like a spring split game for them. But KT actually feeling like this is a reinvigorated squad.
Watching the replay, and we talked earlier about if you lose vision control against this KT pick top, it's going to be scary stuff. They all in, don't get the smite, which again, the Rift Herald was very well defended by KT, and then look at this engage. The amount of knock-up combo here is outrageous. There's 2 Pyke resets in this fight as well. The thing that makes Pyke so unique is that gold that gets inserted into the game. We'll listen to the comms.
He just looks like it's another day in the office, doesn't he?
Well, he's done this before, that's for sure. And speaking of done this before,
yeah, another Bone Skewer comes in. Kingen has to flash. It's great positioning on that seismic shot there from Grace.
Before we got those comms, look at the gold lead. This is Pyke. This is the fact that you get that full gold on an ally. You get a good trade. You get 2 or 3 kills, and suddenly the game is way less competitive gold-wise than it was just a couple of minutes ago.
Yep, you can see already gold bounties here for Kingen and Prey, and it's very impressive that Kingen actually has that gold bounty on his head because he was suffering in that lane. You can see still 30 CS, but the gold numbers tell a different story, close to 1,500 in the lead now for the Pyke, who doesn't really care about killing minions, Papa. He wants to kill champions, and he does so very, very well, and has done so. The last couple of fights very nicely. 6,000 gold is the approaching advantage as KT look for their second dragon.
I think Jin Air needs to go costume shopping really soon. They need watches. The stopwatches in this game are so important. They have none on their side. Both the duo members of KT have stopwatches available. With how much engage pick CC there is, whether it's guaranteed like a Nautilus ultimate or everyone else from KT, with no stopwatches, those knockout parties going to happen again and again.
Yep. And Nautilus is just pretty good at doing that by himself as well, and that's why you saw so much damage coming out of KT, because it was a Fate's Call into a depth charge that just kept them in the sky forever, and these bevy of assassins that KT has for themselves, I'd even almost put Prey in that category as he's moving further and further ahead on that Kalista. It's just really, really scary here.
And KT's way to close this game out pre-30, which is what you kind of want to do with a full assassin comp, is to just make it about fights. Just say, this is an objective you have to defend, come fight against us, and it doesn't matter how many globals you have, because we're ready for it. We're 5v5. So grouped, where KT does a lot of work, and also around Akali in the Taliyah matchup before a Banshee Veil is complete. Taliyah desperately needs Banshee to even enter lane against a Akali post-gun.
UmTi, he's not going to get caught in the same way that Kingen was. He's going to be able to get himself over the wall there with the Blast Cone. Rift Scuttler's going to go down, and KT looking for a little bit of a reset here as Jin Air are reveling in the fact that they now do have a little bit of time off. Root, you can see, does have those first two items, but they've come in a little bit too late because Prey has his as well.
And Lindarinag is taking the super carry Doinby approach here and going for the Righteous Glory second.
Again, was the Aftershock build, but now Aftershock is a very different keystone, and so he's just going to be opting in for the same build, different idea with the phase rush.
It's more health, which I think is important given that Pyke is going to absolutely be trying to shadow him and assassinate him down. It doesn't feel like Merlinomicon is going to give you enough bang for your buck when it comes to health stats. And I think there's no problem with damage output on either side. Both teams have a lot of damage, Jin Air and KT. Both teams can pick one person really, really fast, so I have no problems with Righteous Glory to get those first picks.
Well, 10 seconds until the Baron is on the map, as we can see KT being very aggressive here over at this red spawn. It does come out, looks like Jin Air will have some control. There's another flash is gained there from Grace. Prey very quick on that trigger finger, as UmTi's going to be able to steal away the red buff, safeguards his way out. And KT say thanks for the leash.
4-1 was even abated there. It's going to be the Akali walking down to make it the full 5-man invade. With this much pick CC, with some of it guaranteed, you can actually group as 5 way more than most comps that are 4-1 or 1-3-1 that are afraid of not being able to hit that skill shot and thus lose out on minion wave pressure around the map. KT continue to make it about the now. They can find a Baron pre-30. The ways back in for Jin Air are so minimal.
Yep, and also, if Jin Air find them doing a Baron, Prey just presses his E button at the right time and they are going to be able to secure it. UmTi, speaking of securing, was able to lock down that Gromp there that was Grace was trying to steal away from him.
It's definitely a comp where all 5 members from KT can turn as well.
Oh, yeah.
Can solo turn. It doesn't require one person to turn, like an Orin comp, for example.
But also SnowFlower can stay out and play goalie for as long as he wants, and then Fate's Call protects him from any engage.
Pretty much every player from KT can do that, though.
Yeah,
yes,
well,
the Nautilus is the most obvious one, but Kalista Fate's Call. The Akali can make solo picks. The Lee Sin and Pyke don't need introductions, so when they're defending an objective, now that they're not getting rotated around the map by the globals of Jin Air, now that KT say, hey guys, we're playing over here, come to us, now it becomes very few options for Jin Air, and something like a Weaver's Wall is going to be needed to just probably turn around a defensive position that KT has around an objective.
Exactly, and it feels like we're going to have Realm Walks being used basically as a hawk shot in order to try and see what's going on. I think gone are the times where Jin Air can utilize that to try and steal away a Baron or something like that.
True Shot Barrage to spot, True Shot Barrage to steal, blue trinkets, Taliyah Wall. The Realm Warp actually has that that ability as well.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But those are big cooldowns you have to use. The SnowFlower's going to take a lot of free damage.
And that's not what we were expecting this comp to be able to do, right? What we saw from this Jin Air composition was a lot of global and a lot of power as Prey 1 versus 4 was holding his own underneath that turret.
A global comp wants to make the map bigger, an assassin comp wants to make the map either about the 4-1 or just about team fights where they are at. And whether they want to use the Akali or whether they want to make it out the team fights, I feel like they're spoiled for choice from a Jin Air perspective, from a KT Rolster perspective.
Yep, and 3 teleports as well here from KT, so able to answer some of that global with all of them up on cooldown and available right now. BDD pokes his head into the enemy blue side jungle. Will now continue this 1-3-1 as another Mountain Drake will hit the dust and KT just have full control.
And it makes plan A of run at the Baron stronger.
Oh, yeah.
Every Mountain Drake, so you're pretty happy to see that one. And it's going to be another Ocean, so the Drakes do go down in priority from here. Item completions, Righteous Glory is finally there for Lindarinag. Still no Banshee Veil, maybe not even a Banshee Veil on the way from Grace. It's only Akali, but unfortunately, you're very much saying, hey Akali, you pushing the minions, I'll take them when you're ready. And that does mean that Akali gets a lot of ability to push topside, move to Baron, and increase the headaches for Jin Air Greenwings.
Yep, Oblivion Orb is now done, so like you say, Omicron will be coming in here. Or Grace most likely. Kingen's going to dive on forward there as the Devour comes in, but you ain't walking very fast after that now as the Death from below. He's going to get the reset. That's 2 for now. Can he find more? The answer looks to be no, but the Bone Skewer does land. Deep Water Dive is going to get Kingen's health back, and KT are thinking about Baron.
That's perfect from SnowFlower. Did everything right, changed his focus onto the Tahm Kench instantly, and Tahm Kench ain't going nowhere with both the changes to the kit and also that scenario. TP into the minion wave here. Jin Air caught.
Yep, and SnowFlower does have to go gold, and BDD dives into the backline, gets the Shroud down as Mairang's going to go gold as well, but BDD, he's found Grace on the back end, he's out of the fight. Mairang now finds himself 1v4, and SnowFlower even survives. The back is going to come in, Jin Air can't do anything, and Baron will go to KT.
Perfect play from KT in both scenarios. Desperate TP coming in, Ezreal ult to spot. Can Jin Air do anything?
Yep, True Shot Barrage is going to come down, but Prey, he's got that E button. There is a smite from UmTi. This will be going to KT as Prey's trying to turn this one around. He's very, very low though, as Root does do some damage. The Baron does go to KT, but can Jin Air tidy up? The answer is most likely no, but Prey goes into the stopwatch. He dies eventually as Lindarinag has a lot of damage. Can KT finish him off? The answer is yes, because they're going gold at the clutchest times that you can, and it's only Kellin able to waddle his way out.
No deaths in vain for KT. They pile on the gold, over 10,000 now. The Baron is secure, and it not being up on support and AD carry is far from the most significant thing. Watch the replay. SnowFlower, who we just mentioned, did nothing in spring. He basically didn't play, it felt like. Comes in, changes target onto the Tahm Kench. We talked about the interaction. Death from below goes straight through that newly buffed Grey health. And then I love the TP timing here, because Jin Air were damned if they did, and damned if they didn't.
Yep, and I think that SnowFlower has just created more opportunity for himself in this one passage of play than he had the entirety of spring, right? Like,
what do the best players in the world bring out of their teams? They bring up their teammates, and suddenly we're speaking fondly of SnowFlower, something we couldn't do in 18 best-of-threes and a promotion tournament in the spring season. Prey does eventually go down, but his death is after all of this game has been, as far as we can tell, won by KT Rolster.
Yep, absolutely amazing use of the stopwatch there from BDD and Prey in order to win that fight. Just playing around with aggro from their opponents, which is so important to do with a composition like this that does revolve around having a lot of damage, but not necessarily having a lot of health bars on your team. Kingen certainly very, very squishy on this pike, but played around that last couple of team fights really, really nicely as KT have really ballooned this gold lead. It's 11,000.
The stats, the scales, whenever it's the gold lead changes in a pike game, are always explosive. They always, you can tell exactly the timestamps where those resets are. I don't need ProView for those ones. We actually don't know the situation for ProView and the LCK. We'll probe for that later in the day, but
we'll keep you as updated as possible on ProView, guys.
We're just happy to have Prey back in pro play, pushing in with this Baron buff, but no base broken yet at 26 minutes.
Yep, SnowFlower able to drag his way out of that seismic shove there as well, so he's going to be absolutely A-OK. BDD, the 1-3-1 is certainly in effect, and this inner turret is not long for the world. Spray, he's going to make his way down as well, and they still have. This siege turret should be able to take down, sorry, siege minions should be able to take down this turret. Kingen looking for the bones here onto Lindarang, but Lindarang's just interested in killing minions. BDD just takes his little friend, moves it towards an inhibitor turret on the bottom side. It's feeling a little bit elementary here at this point here from KT, but it's exactly what all of the KT fans have been looking forward to. And if there's ever a debut for Prey on a team, to look at KT and look at how they're playing with so much added cohesion in the later stages of the game. Like, that was one of our biggest criticisms in the spring split, because often KT was just all over the place. This is looking much better, and it's exactly what we wanted from Prey's addition to KT.
And while it wasn't the first 10 minutes, it's been in style in the last 10 Atlas. It's been really good stuff. Killing the game from KT has been impressive. UmTi gets shoved, but he's going to respond with just getting himself out. They've broken one inhibitor turret, and they've still got plenty of Baron time to break another one.
Yep, Lindarang is preoccupied on the top side of the map as Kingen is threatened to try to take down that inhibitor turret. A little bit of chip damage on the bottom one, but KT do break first inhibitor blood.
I tell a lie, it cycled from 2 minutes 35 on the Baron on the top side, and that became a 2 minute 30 Baron timer. So the Baron was about to run out there. A bit of a whoopsie, but production is changing a bit in the summer season. The world's least influential Ocean Drain is going to be taken on the back end here, as Prey has the frontline Ballista build, always my favorite. Stack the lifesteal, buy a Hurricane, and just go hopping mad in the faces of Jin.
Yeah, and now he has a 50 CS lead as well, 60. Gigantic CS advantage, the most gold in the game, and has gone back and spent a whole bunch of it as well. As like you said, Bloodthirster and the Blade of the Ruined King both were already there, now augments that with the Last Whisper and a couple of control wards. And UmTi's having a really great time. This is when you know you're playing fun Lee Sin, because you've got the Black Cleaver into the GA build going on, and you get to sit on that BF sword for a little while.
Reminds me of UmTi popping off in the Kesper Cup when he was replacing Score when KT was re-debuting with their new roster, and
Score wasn't feeling so well as well, so couldn't actually play during the Kesper Cup.
Honestly, KT, just so forgettable in spring season. It was very clear early that they just wouldn't be relevant, as Kingen's fast.
Yeah, he's really, really fast. Tries to one combo Grace, isn't quite able to, but he's able to cause a lot of ruckus on the top side. The rest of KT were not in position to try and chase him down, but he can possibly do that again relatively soon, as Ghostblade is not exactly a huge cooldown.
I think if he popped Edge of Night while invisible, he could have just tanked the shove and probably would have got the kill there too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was scary.
He's got a lot of lethality, Pubs.
But the lethality scaling is the most true scaling on the Pyke's kit. The AD and lethality was played around with many moons ago. Pyke's just been buffed, right? He's never been nerfed. He's been buffed in recent memory. So I welcome this Pyke top play, and while Kingen and KT weren't able to do it as early as maybe some people would demand, it hasn't been in doubt when it's mattered.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's not like they've, I don't know, used it ineffectually, and also the slowness of the beginning of the game didn't play against KT. They just took what they wanted and continued the game on as we're looking for the flank. SnowFlower and UmTi make their way in. BDD's already there though as Root. He's able to get himself out of the way. Fate's Call comes in. Prey just hopping around the backside of the fight. Grace, he's going to be the first one to go down. Root gets flashed on by Prey of all people. And then KT are able to dive back over the wall there as well. Lindarang wonders where everyone disappeared to. And I'm sorry, sir, they've all gone into the death chamber. And Lindarang, you may be following them even if you make it under your Nexus turrets.
Thanks for the memories, even if they weren't so great for you, Jin Air. It's going to be the end of game number 1. KT with Prey going to start up hot.
Yep, they're still looking for Lindarang, but these Nexus turrets are looking too juicy. KT, game number 1 of the summer split for 2019 looks way better than all that spring had to offer for them. This is not relegation KT. This is Prey's KT.